When I was selected, I was really pleased for more than just the obvious reason. Obviously, it's nice to know that you succeeded in what you tried to do. But the importance of this show for me had to do with where I was in my career. I had just seen the movie Harriet, which was about Harriet Tubman. And when the call came in Auburn, which is so proud of its local history, Harriet Tubman being right up the street, and the call required that you be in the two neighboring locations with a justifiable reason, it made sense to me that I could show figure and portrait in one venue here at the Cayuga Museum, which is itself an old house, an old mansion, and the landscapes next door in the Schweinfurth Art Center in more of a white box setting. My sister and I were looking through old family photos that I realized that my ancestors, not very many generations back, would have been contemporaries of Harriet Tubman. I only have to go back, I think we figured out only 4 generations in my family to find somebody who was born into slavery. A lot of people, artists and otherwise, are curious to know how people paint. One thing that I do that is probably not customary is that I listen when I'm painting. I listen to audiobooks in languages I don't understand. If I listen to a straight up audiobook, I get annoyed because I lose track of the plot, and then I have to go and rewind the machine. Sometimes you just need to hear somebody talking. So a good audiobook in Mandarin or Korean or Kiswahili works for me. This painting was done in the studio in my home, but I've drawn it many times. Sketches, you know, that's the other thing that is really important to people. You draw things over and over, you draw parts of things, you do it in different media. And part of the curiosity in this painting, other than liking the photo on which I based it, is that we don't know much about what's going on. There's one person in the painting who we know to be my aunt. The full title would be Night Picnic, Nation's Capital, circa 1950. People were under state-sponsored segregation at the time. There were limited places where they could go. And at the same time, I'm looking at this painting of people clearly enjoying themselves. I'm seeing this other side of the picture, which probably severely limited the places where they were free to do that. So, yeah, so there's an underside to the story, the joy and also the kind of tragic situation under which people were obligated to live around that time period. The work in the Julius Gallery is all watercolor. They were all proposed as imagined landscapes of what people would see when they were moving north on the Underground Railroad. This one, for example, is taken from an excerpt of a letter that William Penn wrote seeking a place of safety for someone that he knew. And further down the wall, the images, rather, are based on what I was fortunate to learn, which is the actual location of some activity between free and enslaved people in Auburn, in Cayuga County, in Lansing, in upstate New York. People often ask me when I started to paint. It's the first thing I remember doing in life, and I've never stopped. My parents were always very encouraging about my painting. My father was an architect, my mother was a teacher. We jokingly say in our family, we have no doctors and lawyers. We just have art, literature, music. My earliest memory is sitting on my mother's lap, looking at a huge book of Impressionist paintings. What's next for me? There's certainly a lot that I have learned in this process, the idea of working with family photos, this project, the different media. I'll be working on this for a long time without repeating any of the steps I've taken. And I've learned a lot in the process that give me ideas about how to develop this work in the future.